Welcome to Small Town Big Life Podcast, coming at you from the Bait Shop behind Grace Fellowship Church in Avis, Pennsylvania. I am your host and co-host, and Jackie Brown is your host and co-host. I don't know how to say it.
Space
The
Coast.
one flying the plane.
Coast
Right.
to coast.
Yeah. Yeah. Today we have Kim and Brian with us. And I just want to start by thanking you, Brian, for... It's a long story. It's an inside joke. Yep. Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
Crossley, right? That's how you pronounce it. Yeah. It's not Crossley. It's Crossley. Yeah. Like it's a Z sound.
Correct.
And Kim Carson, who's been on here many times, usually with her husband, Ben, who's awesome, but he's not here today.
He has no friends. He didn't want to.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding.
Ben is one of the most awesome people. But the topic we're talking about today is friendship. So it's just, I guess all the aspects of friendship. It's kind of the conversation you have sometimes, but people don't do podcasts on something so mundane, but we will take that challenge.
Well, do you want to tell them how you came up with the concept?
Did I tell you how I came up with the
No,
concept?
but I figured it out.
Actually, no, I didn't.
Oh, I thought it was because I posted a political cartoon and people jumped on me.
No.
Oh.
What?
Okay, I posted, this is what I thought happened because it happened like the morning you sent me that.
Okay.
I shared someone else's political cartoon, and my political affiliation is different than his. Mm-hmm. So a bunch of people jumped on me, of course, online, and I thought you said the question about people with friends with different political beliefs and things like that. I thought that's what.
But that does. It's kind of like that, but something similar happened between a friend and me.
Oh.
We had a disagreement about a movie. He played a trailer of a movie, and I said, no thanks. And I said, it's race baiting, racist, woke. It's a copy movie and all this. And he said, what makes you say it? He loves to debate me. He's an atheist.
Well, yeah.
He's an atheist. We filmed a 2-hour debate one time on. Anyway, he's been a good friend for you. That's what made me think of it. Because the whole like you and I think have very different political views. But the reason him and I did the debate was not to have counterpoint, who wins. It was that we both were sick and tired of people being so disrespectful of one another. So we wanted to show how people with opposing views can still be respectful to one another and have a conversation, and which I wish more people would do.
Exactly.
And so anyway, I just went into a whole thing.
But that's okay.
And I'm sure I see your stuff a lot and roll my eyes. I'm sure like your husband does, your political stuff.
Yep.
But with a giggle.
Well, yes, of course.
Okay. But I got a lot of friends that I know. That's why. Now let's get to the topic, Drew. Let's just come right out of the gate running. The first question is, and I had to think about this. A best friend is someone who what? Kim?
Is there for you.
You're saying it like it's a game show. Is there for you for 2000?
I don't know. That one wasn't on the questions you sent us out.
I added some talking points.
Uh-huh.
What say you, Brian?
I would say a friend or best friend is someone who will just be honest with you.
Yeah.
And tell you something you might not want to hear, but tell it in a way.
That's biblical too.
Right. Mm-hmm. But tell it to you in a way that is full of empathy, compassion, but truth.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because I've had a lot of friends who are like, "What's the matter with you? Smarten up, okay? Smarten up." That that was a dumb thing to do. But you're right. When it comes to serious matters,
yeah.
I mean, you don't talk. I don't talk like that to a friend going through a crisis.
Right.
What's a best friend, Jackie?
I agree with him. A best friend, if I say, does this make me look fat? And they go, oh, yeah, honey, let's go try something else. Just tell me. Just be honest.
So it's an interesting question when you talk about the honesty, because if you say, does this make me look fat? And somebody says, no. Are you like, you're a liar and you're not my friend? Or are you like, thank you? So, no, that's just a joke. I absolutely know what you mean. I think the most intense best friends were the ones we had as a child. You know, where you think you're going to be like, we're going to be neighbors. We're going to live next door to each other. We're going to continue on with this. You know, we're not going to stop playing pirates like grown-ups. They don't know what they're missing. What's the difference between a childhood best friend and an adult best friend? I know it's obvious, but I mean, what's your observations on that?
Yeah, I think as a child, you're like, I don't know, it's the most important thing. Like, if somebody's your best friend or they've picked you to be their best friend, like, that was your whole world back then.
That's true. It's bugging me that her mic is pointed towards her forehead.
I know, I'm like trying to move over.
I'm trying to, let's see if we can, that's, okay.
Better.
I'm sorry for all the noise for those of you. That's better. Jackie may have to adjust your volume a little bit.
Yep.
Does that feel more comfortable?
Yes. Yeah. I'm
okay.
like,
yeah. It looked like you were. Are you good?
Straining.
You can just shift it too.
I'm fine if you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
All right.
good.
Yeah.
All right, Kim. Back to what you were saying. I was listening.
No, I just said I think it's more important to you as a kid, like having a best friend or being picked as somebody's best friend. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're looking for acceptance.
Yeah.
As a kid.
yeah.
Yeah, you are, and I think you want that close, that one person. You know, it's different when you're grown up. What's the difference, Jackie, between a childhood friend and an adult best friend?
No, I agree because you don't have all these other exterior complications when you're a kid. It's just, all right, go to school, come home, still talk to my best friend on the phone for another hour.
Oh, that's right.
And my mom would be like, you were together all day. Why are you on the phone again? You know?
Yeah, you need that. That's your best friend is your first outlet. I remember as a kid, I had a lot of friends, but there was always that one. The one that you would were always with.
Yeah.
The one that you did everything on, you talked with all the time, and people would say, oh, they're best friends. And then when you're real little, you're like, I thought I was your best friend.
Yeah.
That's a different thing about adulthood. I've never had anyone say that to me.
Right.
I thought I was your best friend.
Yeah, and that's. Did you ever have it? I think it's more with women. Like in high school, like I was friends with person A, and then I was friends with person B, but person A and B hated each other.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was always that's constant. I think with women, like
Oh, yeah.
the girls, like
I'm in this circle and I'm in this circle, but these two circles.
hate each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
then it's a competition to see,
That's a
pick.
tough. Guys go through that too. Yeah, but I think it's much. Yeah, I think it's much more intense with girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole best friend thing though, you work with kids constantly. You lead the kids club.
Yes.
So do you see little kids talk about their best friends?
Probably
their iPad now.
Well,
Yeah.
no. I do have. There was quite a lot of girls in one class, and you could see competition over one girl's attention in particular.
Yeah.
And it was it was hard because then you'd see, there were some emotions. Like, so you'd have to, get them back together, all, working together, playing together, not standing back at the curtain like they don't want me up there,
Right.
So yeah, it's the classroom full of girls is more difficult than a classroom full of boys.
Yeah. Before when my daughter was born, almost all my friends, male and female, agreed on one point, and they said, when they're little kids, the girls are easier, but when they're teenagers, it goes the other way around. And I was like, yeah, okay. So, what about you, Brian? We're not on a specific question. I just want to see if you were listening.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you have a best friend? Like when you were a little kid? Like when I say little kid, I'm talking like second grade, third grade, maybe fourth, fifth grade. But usually the one you become best friends with, you might change up in a couple of years, but in those young years, it's usually because the kid lives close by.
yeah, so I remember second grade particularly befriending, actually someone who was new to our grade, to our school. And then third grade, somebody else kind of came into the picture, and I was friends with both of them. Maybe one was maybe more of a best friend than the other, but we all got along.
Right.
I want to say I had equal, hangout time, like sleepover, that type of stuff.
Right.
But I would say, looking back, one was probably more referred in my mind as a best friend than the other.
But did you use that word? You're my best friend. No, you're not my best friend. All that kind of
I
stuff.
don't ever remember us getting into any debates about it.
Well, I think that's where the age difference shows, because there wasn't as much tech around when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so it's like you put more time spent thinking, I don't know, about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, now as an adult, I'm friends with a lot of people, but I think, it's pretty obvious that I have a best friend.
Right.
That we talk a lot and.
Oh, you do? Oh, you do now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But
did you have a best friend as a kid that was one just like, you're my best friend?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just, the two geeks together
Yep.
doing,
It's big with kids. Best friend thing.
yeah, it's
They get-
huge. It's huge. Like you said, the competition, especially with girls.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and Kim works doing kids club. I heard somebody say one time, they said a daycare center. They said a bar at 2:30 in the morning is the exact same thing as a daycare center. You show up and there's some girl crying over in the corner because she's not so and so's best friend anymore. There's a kid sleeping on the floor. There's two guys fighting, saying, "What did you call me?"
Yeah.
He said it's the same thing as a daycare center. Like, exactly. Ooh.
Sorry, that was probably a bad one.
That's ridiculous. You're ignorant. That's
You're
ridiculous.
ignorant.
That's ridiculous. He said that so many times.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
That's right. Nobody got no time for that. Do you have a friend you'd give a kidney to now? Do you have a best friend? Like now? Like, I know you just said you did, but do you, Kim? Do you have? I know you can't say your husband because we know that's a given.
Oh, I was told I had to say my husband.
Well, we know that. I mean, if you're married,
But yes,
it should
I agree
be.
with you. It is a given that your husband,
Yeah.
Your spouse.
is your best friend. So this, I'm nervous to answer this one because I have.
Are you worried somebody will call and go,
Yeah.
I thought I was your best friend?
They'd be like, listen to this, like, excuse me.
Yeah.
I have a lot of great women in my life.
Yeah, me too. No, I'm just kidding. I don't.
But there,
Wow.
But
That was my wife will laugh too.
But there is one who, like through everything I went through this year, who checked on me daily,
Yeah.
and we're kind of there for each other. I'll go for walks with her. Like she's also in a tough season, health-wise. So, so we kind of make sure we check in with each other daily and try to hang out, go for walks.
So you do have that one. Do you have one?
Oh,
now?
yeah, definitely. I have a couple, and it's not someone I talk to every day. It's not someone.
Oh yeah, but it usually isn't when we get older. I mean,
Yeah, maybe even once a week, if, something like that. But, if she called, I'm there.
yep, yeah. I have a couple. Well, one Dwight was, but he's not here anymore. It's like because when I moved to PA, every single person that knows me only knows me because of the church.
Right.
So in every single person, even, people I'm friends with, first they know me as Pastor Drew. So that's been a unique thing. I was really thinking about this the other day. And there's nobody that I can call up that knew me, around here.
Yeah, there's no one
Before I was a pastor to them.
who knew Rocker Drew.
Yeah. And so I still, maintain, like I'm friends with John. He was the drummer for my band that did a lot, and we're still friends. And he actually supports our church, believe it or not. And we don't talk a lot, but when we do, it's like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I mean, we'll talk for like 2 hours, and it's like, I'm totally. I used to do that with Dwight too, and afterwards I'm like refreshed.
Yeah.
That's how I recharge my batteries. Not that. I mean, people here are my friends too. I don't act different. It's just weird. As you talk to someone that you know from a long time ago, you talk about different things. Remember the time that, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say, I would say we still have that. But he's never called me and said, I thought I was your best friend.
Yeah.
So that doesn't. Yeah, but the married thing, I mean, it's all of us are married, so. It's a given your spouse is your best friend. My spouse obviously is my best friend too. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of a tough question. Now this doesn't have to be.
Why are you pointing?
I'm not pointing at you. Well, Brian will go first. Do you have any friends that your wife can't stand? You don't have to say their names, or vice versa. I shouldn't say can't stand. It sounds harsh. Maybe you don't. Maybe they just a little irritating, or somebody that when you see them pull in the driveway, you go or somebody that she sees pulling the driveway for you, and she goes but you're like totally cool with the person. I mean, is that a thing?
I can honestly say and say it with relief that that's not the case for either of us.
Okay.
Because we hang around, our friend circle,
Right.
are pretty much the same core group.
Do you cut people off when you get married? Like you get married, and your wife's your new, it's your best friend, and then so other people that annoy your wife, you look, I ain't taking any chances. I think we're done here. My wife's too important for me to have you coming in and throwing a wrench in the whole program and all that.
I mean, certainly I would hope to think that I would.
Yeah. Well, there's some people like that are just mildly annoying. Like I wouldn't tolerate, with my wife, if somebody came around that she couldn't stand, that'd be the end of that. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have them come around anymore. I'd be like, nah, but we both have pretty much like-mindedness and people we do and don't care for. So I've never had somebody that I tell, well, he's a really great guy, and she's like, I can't stand him. We haven't had that happen.
Yeah, we haven't either. I think her and I are like you and Grace.
Yeah, pretty like-minded.
Yeah, if somebody annoys me, chances are
it's going to
annoy her too.
Yeah,
Vice versa.
But has that happened to you?
Not really.
I want something juicy. Everybody's taking the easy way out.
I know.
Just wait.
Jackie's got an interesting story.
No,
not really. I would say if I don't know, Ben. He's a nice guy.
Ben's easy going.
Yeah, and people gravitate to him. So I'm gonna say if there ever is somebody that kind of might irritate me, they most likely kind of bug him too.
Right.
But he's such a nice guy. Like he's there for whomever. Like if somebody needs him, he's there. Mm-hmm. So
Ben and I have had long conversations about the type of people that annoy us.
Yeah.
So I know he does get annoyed.
Yes.
Because I do too, and we laugh about all of it.
Yes.
So
there is, but yeah.
But yeah, it's none of your friends.
Yeah.
Right.
See, my husband and I are on completely opposite sides of the spectrum on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So yes, and even if they come up to me and ask me, I will tell them, "Yeah, I met you." There are some people that I wouldn't be in a room with if my husband wasn't in the room.
Wow.
And they know that.
Yeah. Is he saying you got the same thing? You got friends that he don't like?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. My more sassy female friends.
So in private, do your friends go, "What do you see in him?"
Yes, absolutely.
And I wonder if his friends say that about you.
They do.
Wow. Well, sometimes people that are a lot of times people that are very different from each other gravitate towards one another, and they find common ground when you see the important stuff.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So out of the four of us, it's just
me.
It's just you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't. Now, what's funny about that is before we moved here, that rule did apply when it came to family members. Mm-hmm. But we're both like-minded. So it doesn't matter if it's someone in her family, someone in my family. There were people that would pull up in the driveway and be like, ugh. Jump behind the couch.
Turn the lights off.
So it was never someone that was exclusively her relative. I don't know. Never had friends like that. I think we have you cut the cord with any of them because of Mike? Like you said,
No.
You know what? I don't want my husband being irritated.
No, absolutely not. No, there are social functions that we just go to separately.
See, I after talking to Mike a few times, I think that I'm pretty in line with Mike's thinking on a lot of things.
You are.
So, okay. Anyway.
Yep.
All right. So, does that mean when I pull up, you go, oh
no,
as a passenger again?
So I'm married to one. Now I got another one in the driveway.
Jeez, they're ganging up on me.
Yeah.
No.
What do we got on our list here? What do you guys? Anything that's on the top of your head about friendship? I mean, this is a church. I am the pastor. We talk constantly. Everybody knows the Bible talks about the importance of it, and a friend will lay his life down for someone. or a friend is someone. Well, great quote of scripture there, Pastor. You know the book, the verse, and everything. No, but did you have when I told you what we were going to talk about? Did you have any ideas, immediate thoughts on the topic?
I don't know. When I Googled it to see if I get it right, it said it was the beginning of a poem, but I've always seen it's like a meme, and it's like there are 3 kinds of friends: friends for a reason, friends for a season, and friends for a lifetime. That's what popped in my head when you said you were doing
That's good.
It. Yeah.
Accurate.
I like that.
Yep.
So.
What about you, Brian?
Well, I'm looking at the question here. How do you think a friendship differs from a close family relationship, right? I was thinking about that one a little bit today.
Yeah.
So going back to the conversation about my wife and I having like our core friend group that we've been through a lot together with, we've kind of forged almost a family relationship. And the one that I'm probably say is kind of I'm the closest with, he and I are a lot like brothers, maybe in a sense, and how we think, how we process things, and just how we get along.
Yeah.
People have actually asked if we were brothers. But, I have a brother, and while there's a lot of parallels to my relationship with my friend and my relationship with my brother, there's a tie with my brother and I because of our parents and stuff we're dealing with our parents that makes it different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. It is difficult to articulate because you need both. Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny if you don't have a sibling, you don't feel the need for it. But sometimes when you do have one and they're not around, sometimes you feel the need. Mm-hmm. It's a weird thing. It has to be. Yeah, but both are like I'm trying to think if there's anything I would do or say with a friend that I would not do, I should say family. There's all kinds of stuff, stories I wouldn't have told my mom that I would tell my brother. But I'm talking about, and did. But like what you're talking about, just maybe a friend versus my brother. I think brothers can be more direct with their honesty sometimes. Like we were talking about, sometimes you want to be delicate if it's a sensitive situation. Mm-hmm. I think that goes out the window with brothers.
Absolutely.
Do you have brothers and sisters? I know I should know this.
I have a sister. She's in Scotland. But
Scotland?
Yeah.
Why?
Because she lives in Scotland. She lives there. That's where her house is.
What? Did she? When I hear stuff like that, I always think some people get I think it'll be a Scotsman today.
Yeah.
I'm going to move to another country. I think I'll go to Scotland. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey, you got that down. You sound good. You should go.
That was pretty much the phone call.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Does she like guys in kilts?
Hey, kilts are...
Hey.
I played a Scotsman in a play once, and I had to wear a kilt. And I'm like, why don't I wear this like all the time?
Right.
Because it has got a leather belt. I had black boots. I'm like, that looks manly enough for me. This thing is terribly convenient and cool in the summer.
Oh.
I think I've seen video of it.
Yeah.
It's
Have
on
you?
the internet.
Seriously?
Yikes.
Yeah.
Leak that to the press.
I think it was on the river. I think you did a skit.
No, I did. As a Scotsman, but I didn't wear a kilt. I don't think I wore a kilt.
I don't remember.
I wore a kilt in the production, but
Okay.
I don't think I ever had I didn't wear one in church.
You didn't?
No.
No, but
I've played all kinds of different types of people in plays and films. Anyway.
But going back to something that you said about, the way you talk to your friends versus the way you talk to your family.
Yes.
When I grew up, and even now, most of my friends are male. They're not female. I don't have...
Well, I know.
I was going to say, I had a feeling you and I are probably similar.
Yeah.
In that because, I got along with guys way better.
And part of it was exactly what you said, that guys will be direct and be honest.
There's no games.
Yeah.
They don't play games.
So here's
about
the thing about that. I'll let y'all in a little secret.
They don't really want to be your friend.
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay.
When they're little, that is the case.
Yeah.
But then they start developing an interest. They won't admit it. But they do. And then usually, and I mean, we all know the saying, the friend zone.
Yeah.
Right.
You got put in the friend zone. That's usually where it happens.
Right.
A girl will be hanging out with her guy friends, and one of them says or does something, and she's like, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. And then the other guys are like, dude, you just got put in the friend zone. And so, but to a lot of young dudes, yeah. And I've had friends that were females, but none that I would do the same things with the guys. I don't drink or any of that kind of stuff anymore. Obviously, I haven't in years, but none of them that I'd say, hey, you want to go get a beer? Unless I had an ulterior motive. And as a young man, I just didn't. Now, there were females I would encounter at work or through some other way that I knew, and I'm like friends with them, but I would never call them
right.
and hang out with them. Whereas I know girls, they'll go out where they know where they have their guy friends are.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different thing. Did you ever? What about you? Did you? I mean, like before you got, how long? When did you meet your wife?
I was a junior in high school.
Oh, so you never even went through that phase. You've been with her for, that's good. Good for you, man. Wow. That's awesome.
I think 30 years in September.
Wow.
Holy.
You should be in some kind of marriage hall of fame somewhere. That's awesome. Good for you, man. That's rare. So it should be, that's good, man. That's what a lot of people should, I mean, if that's what happened in the old days. I know we're talking about friendship, but the greatest generation,
the
couples that stayed together forever were the ones that were high school sweethearts. You're like, what happened?
Right.
Why aren't we still doing that? But,
right.
Good for you. So you never went through that having friends that are girls?
No.
Yeah. I could. I mean, did you? So this is a good question. If you said like guy friends are easier to have, you can either of you answer this or both of you. Did you ever have a guy go, and you had to friend zone him and go, ooh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In college.
See, I told you. Told you.
You know, they'd get up a little bit of courage. So, no.
Yeah. See, now, and I always tell, whenever I would, if I dated a girl or something, she's like, well, I get along. Every guy has heard women say this. I get along better with guys. I got a bunch of guy friends. First thing the guy thinks is, not anymore, you don't. Because that ain't going to fly with me, your guy friends. I know what that is. And
I mean, how long have you been with Ben?
It is 30 years.
Oh.
We dated.
Oh, my gosh. You were the same thing, too? High school?
Our 30th
I didn't know
anniversary
that.
will be April 1st. Yep.
So you met in high school, too?
No, we're not from this same area.
What did you meet?
I worked on his farm. I worked for a vet that came to his farm. We flushed embryos.
Oh, he told me the story a long time ago.
Yeah, we flushed embryos, out of his cattle. So, no, we got...
Sorry.
I don't know how to respond to that. That's not usually something you hear someone say. Well, so what do you work? I flushed.
That was like a Mike Rowe moment right there.
Yeah. So that's how we met.
Well,
don't you think the cows have the rights to their own body? I'm just kidding. All right. Dun, politics. All right. So that's how. So how old were you?
When I got married?
No, when you met.
He 23.
So you were young.
Yeah.
Wasn't as young as Brian and Trish, but you were young.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you met Mike?
I was 24. He was just 21.
So did you have guy friends? Like, these are my friends when you...
Yeah, that's how we met.
Do you still? Or is Mike like, not anymore, you don't?
I'm friends still with like two of them.
But you don't like hang with them?
No.
Right.
We don't like hang out. No.
Yeah.
No.
And I know you, yeah.
Yeah.
So you gotta, I never had that issue.
If we do venture to get together, it's usually involving food. So
yeah,
it's like there's a 4th of July barbecue and everybody comes and brings their wives and spouses, whatever. And then we all sort of suddenly drift into our little pods again of friends we've known for 20 years and strangers.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting.
Do you have any friends from your little childhood that you still have?
Yeah.
Do you really?
Well, we talk on Facebook and stuff, but they live...
With social media, I feel like you can still have a connection to them from your childhood.
Oh, yeah.
But is it like a true friendship? You know what I mean? Like,
well,
right.
Yeah. And I know it's been good for a lot of people to read. Brian, do you still have friends?
Where are we defining childhood?
Well, I would say anything from up to age, I don't know, 15 or 16. Anytime from 2 years old,
Yeah, so
16 and below, maybe.
high school friends, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but not like just learn to ride a bike age friends. No. Yeah, me either.
And it's nothing.
No.
Just
well, you move away. You do
That's
things.
it.
Your
move
dad
away.
goes to prison. Just no. You know how it is. Your dad goes to prison. Your mom leaves the country, and you're left at the fire department. Things happen.
And your truck breaks down.
Your truck break. No, but I don't either. I had one friend from I've talked to a few on social media, and it's weird when you see a friend or you talk to a friend from a long time ago, and they're like very different than what you thought they would be like.
Yes, absolutely.
And one of them was like, he was a bully, kind of a jerk, and he's still a bully, kind of jerk.
No.
I was like, dude, we're grown-ups now. Just weird stuff like that. And you're like, and then the other thing about old friends is, have you ever been in a store or something and you see someone that maybe you knew from high school, but you're like, I've done this. I'm like, man, you look old. Like, 'cause something in my brain is still thinking he's supposed to look like he did in the 7th grade. I'm like, man, you're so old. And I see myself in the window reflection. I'm like, oh, I'm old too. Because because sometimes they'll come up behind you and be like, hey, Drew. I'm like, whoa, you are old.
What's up, Grandpa?
Yeah, you're supposed to still look like you were when we got out for summer break in 8th grade. I don't know.
The strangest thing for me was in high school, I'm using air quotes, I had a brother. I mean, he was my best friend. We were family, basically, adopted family kind of thing, but not really adopted. And then I moved away when I went to college and eventually came back to Pennsylvania. And we set up a time to get together after we hadn't seen each other in probably 6 years. Now he has a Southern accent.
Oh, my.
And
it's like, what did I miss?
I know. It's, you know what? I used to think people were doing that to just, like, intentionally, but I think after a while, when you're around certain people, I think it just starts happening.
It must.
I think it does. I was in New York, and with my band, I was in the studio. Long story short. Anyway, some guys are in there that are from New York, and they go, "Dude, where are you from?" I go, "I'm from Ohio." He goes, "You sound Southern." And
You do sound Southern.
What?
Oh, we've had this conversation. Every once in a while, you pop out a word and it's got a twang on the end of it.
I said, listen, the people I meet in the South, I sound like this, man. They go, how you doing, man? I go, I don't sound like that. He goes, you do? I do not. And I've had now. Yeah, you're right. We have had this conversation,
but I can't say much because up until age 7. When I moved here to Pennsylvania, not here, but still to Pennsylvania, I had a thick Long Island, New York accent.
Long Island?
Long
Island?
Yeah.
Long Island. My wife tells a funny story about a friend of hers talking about, you need to get Bob and call Bob. And she's like, who's Bob? And she's saying Barb.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That was me.
That was you, really.
You call the doctor, you put the shirt on the hanger.
Like Boston and paper and car, park the car. No, not so much.
Not so much.
That's not like Boston.
Yeah.
No, we're on a whole different topic. We do this all the time.
This is what happens.
Did you ever have friends that were a bad influence on you? You two are like squeaky clean. I met my husband when I was young, and we got married and never did anything wrong. And it's like, and I'm the pastor, and I know what's on the other side of the fence. That's why I had to run to Jesus. So, but they aren't they? They're like, I'm not saying she's not.
I'm the hellion over here.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So, have you ever had someone be a bad influence on you, or vice versa? Have you been a bad influence? My mom was worried about me being a bad influence on one of my friends. I'm like, what? It's supposed to be the other way around. Anyway, have you?
Not really. I did have. No, not really.
Now, come on. Now you see, she started to tell a story.
I mean, it was like 2nd grade, and a kid that was my friend. He's like, "Don't do the math homework. She doesn't look at it." And like for a couple of days, I didn't do it. Like we had stations. You had to, you did your math, and then you went over here and you did the spelling. So you just rotate. And he's like, "Stop doing it. She doesn't even."
So
look at it. So like I was like, so I did listen to him, but then I was like, oh, I can't do that.
Right.
I was a little nerd. I can't do that.
So, the extent of your bad influence is cheating on a test?
Yeah.
Okay, so mine was stealing a car. So there's a big difference. Anyway, Sunday.
No, I was probably the one that was trying to be a good influence for maybe some of my friends.
Okay.
All right, so I was probably the one trying to be a good influence. Now, I had a friend in early high school that we didn't do anything terrible other than we'd be out running the neighborhood all hours of the night.
Yep, we did that.
Setting Roman candles off in people's backyards, that type of stuff. But once it got to be where they were starting to dabble into underage drinking and stuff like that, I tapped out. I was like, I don't need this.
Yeah. You have any bad influences, friends?
I'm gonna say the way I want to explain this. I was the bad influence because
I totally believe that.
yeah, but I was the one who wasn't afraid to ask an adult an embarrassing question growing up.
Okay.
So if one of my friends had a question about something and I didn't know the answer, and this was before the internet. Yes, I was born before the internet. And we didn't look it up in the encyclopedia on the shelf, and you had to ask an adult, I was the one who would ask. And then come back and tell the whole group what the answer was. So then they would go home and accidentally repeat something.
Where did you hear that?
Where did you hear that word? Jackie?
Jackie's awful smart.
That nice girl over there? Yeah, you don't need to hang out with her anymore. No. But yeah, I was kind of the bad influence.
Yeah. I guess I've been on both sides of the fence there. Bad influence and had some. You got that one friend like Eddie Haskell. I know that's a weird reference. It's always nice when the adults are around and they leave, and he's like, hey, let's burn the shed down. You're like, what? You go right to the extreme of arson? I mean, why don't we start off small with a firecracker or something? I mean, there are guys like that. I've had friends like that when I was younger, and I'm like, I'm not going to hang out with you anymore, man. You're like, there's something. You're going to end up in prison, dude. I mean, even at a young age. But I guess I've been both. I've had bad influence friends, and I've been a bad influence. When I was really young, I don't know, I started developing more of a conscience. Young people don't have much of a conscience. Little kids, a little kid will push another kid down on the concrete for a rescut.
Oh, yeah.
They will. And even teenagers are just absolutely cruel, to each other. I think that's one reason we need parents. Parents need to be parents and not friends, because our friendships that we have at that age are important, but we have to police the kids because they're completely self-centered.
Mm-hmm. Well, they don't know anything else.
No, they don't. They just know that it's all about me.
Yeah. But
that's the part of brain development they're in. I mean, it's not their fault. But I know I was cruel. Some kid bullied on us when I was 6th, 7th grade. This is the same one that I said he's still a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we decided one day after football practice we were going to push him off an overpass. And then we never did it, obviously, because we started thinking about, well, wait a minute, that might kill him. Were we thinking about him? No, we were thinking about the trouble we'd be in. Right.
Yeah.
And then I looked back on that later that summer and thought, well, that was just evil to even think, to even know he's a bully and all this stuff. And I was like, I can't believe we even had that thought. And that friend, the other friend of mine, who I did contact later in life, and real nice guy, still a nice guy, police officer. He was a nice guy when we were kids. We were both victims of this other guy. No, I shouldn't say victims. I don't want to overstate this. We weren't pummeled every day or anything. But kids are, I think, our friendships when we're younger are more susceptible to being bruised or damaged because we can be more self-centered. Mm-hmm. You think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you ever have a huge falling out with a friend and you either cut the cord for good or you reconciled and then it got stronger because when you put the power of forgiveness on display, sometimes if you forgive someone, the friendship gets stronger. You ever had that happen?
I'm sure. I guess my mind goes right now to I've had to unfortunately cut the cord.
Yeah. I have too.
Yeah. It's just what it was. And
what about you?
I can't really think. That was one of the questions I was looking at. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever really had that happen. I've watched it in my kids' lives, because
what do you? severing ties with friends?
Just that they get so focused on themselves, and I'm always going, well, there's two sides to each story. Just calm down.
That's good. You bring balance. I mean, that's an important thing.
They don't like it when I say that.
You're not supposed to be. You're not there to be a friend. You're there to be a parent. That's the whole.
So I've watched it unfold sometimes, and watched them have to sever ties or.
Yeah.
I've had the sideline view too. So
You've had what?
the sideline view. Of that too.
Yeah. Yep.
I think especially now, like with the social media and all that, like it's tough being a parent.
Oh,
I don't know how you guys do it. I honestly
I have
don't.
no doubt.
So.
Have you done it? You ever had to just cut the cord and then maybe fixed it and it got better?
Yeah, for a dumb reason. One of my best friends in high school, we fought over a boy.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like the summer before senior year, and we didn't talk to each other for all of senior year. Then I moved away, and then she's a writer. One day I saw her books at a bookstore, like a BAM bookstore.
Yeah.
Books. It's like, that's my best friend.
Yeah, that's cool.
She's got books on this shelf. So I found her on Facebook and was just like, hey. And she's like, hey. And boom, we're fine.
Yeah.
What did we fight about? I don't know. It was dumb. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've cut the cord when I got into ministry.
Well, you kind of have to.
I didn't. Let's see. Before, my social media, like Facebook and all that stuff. Stuff was like the friends and all that. They were maxed out and all this stuff. But the thing is, a bunch of people knew me. I didn't know them, and so I had to start over again because I'm like, and that's a weird place to be because you've got this false sense of self. You think you're bigger and more important than you really are. You're like, oh, these people like me. They don't know me. So then I'm like on ministry, and then I had friends cut the cord with me. I mean, they didn't say I'm done with you. They just
because
stopped.
You became a pastor.
Because I became a pastor. They stopped communicating with me. And one of them was a friend from radio, and he unfriended me. He actually friended me because I thought whoever wants to friend me now, I'm only going to accept friend requests from people I know, or it's somebody from the church, or somebody that I know is not, shady. And it's not. I'm not judging other people. I just don't want my timeline filled with a bunch of. So he was. We were friends. I would consider us friends. Like we would. We bumped into each other all the time. I'd go to the radio station because our band would have to be on commercials and different things like this. And anyway, he unfriended me, and so I called him. I said, "Hey, Ron, what? I noticed you unfriended me." He goes, "Yeah, well, you're a pastor now." And I go, "What's that got to do with anything?" He goes, "Well, I'm gay, and you know that, and everyone knows that. And I just assumed it would be something you would want no part of, and we have different views." And I was like, "We never even had a discussion about this." And he admitted, "I just assumed," and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy." And still to this day, he's not.
Well, it's a logical connection to make, though.
Well, it just goes to show you how misinformed people are about Christianity. I mean, and how, that's like saying, well, you're a cop now, so I assumed you're going to choke me as soon as I get out of the car. I mean, that's, I mean, so you're pigeonholing me, man. Okay, whatever. But I've cut the cord with, I just cut the cord all at once. And there's people I don't associate with. But like we were all at my age, like you said, you were born before the internet. I was born before calculators, and
I'm close to your age. I don't like that statement.
So, no, I don't think I don't know if I was actually born, but yeah, I've had to cut the cord with people.
Yeah.
Did you ever cut the cord with someone strictly because their character started to go south? You're like, you know what? They didn't do you wrong. A friend that you're like, you're getting kind of a low moral compass, and I don't think we can do this anymore.
No, because eventually those people kind of drifted their own way.
They drifted away from you. You didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't like push that raft.
No.
Have you? You got either of you ever done it? Had somebody that just like was a good friend, and then you're like, man, you're starting to get a little like dark. I don't know if we can do this. I mean, and I'm talking about beyond counsel. Like you can't. I'm not saying you abandon them if they need help.
Oh, no.
talking about-
But yeah, like my friends in college who got into stuff that's, I wouldn't touch, and they went down that road. It's like I would have been there if they would have needed me to drive them to the hospital, but then they went.
Hospital?
You know what I mean.
Stuff was, yeah.
You know what I mean.
The usual meth.
College stuff. So, but yeah, they just kind of went their way, and I stayed over here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you cut the cord with anyone because they went south on you? Like their characters started to get a little dark and you said, I don't think we can...
No, I don't think I've ever had any friends like that. I did... so a childhood friend, she started to... she's getting into like Buddhism and that sort of thing. So I would say, freshly a Christian... Because, I grew up going to church, but I didn't really know what it meant. And then after Ben and I got married and came here, then I understood what it meant to have a relationship with Christ. Yes. Yeah. So then my parents still lived back in York, so I would go visit with the kids for a week each year. So we decided to go out to eat, and she knew we were going to have this talk, because I didn't know anything about Buddhism. I thought we could have a discussion, and that's how it went in my eyes. I felt like I explained what Christianity was. She explained what Buddhism was. I thought it was mature. I thought it went well. She dropped me off at the house, and right before I got out of the car, and she goes, "I just feel like this just put a complete wedge between us." And I was just like,
"Aw."
You didn't feel that way, but she did.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
it's funny.
That hurt. And so, I mean...
It does hurt. Religion will do that, too.
Yeah.
And most Buddhists don't even know what people that say they're Buddhist. I studied Buddhism. They didn't study it. They just thinks it looks... Because I had to study. You have to in Bible college. So
Yeah.
That's sad. That's sad that somebody would say that, because you would think it would, I don't know, open a discussion.
Right. And that's what, I wasn't... I believe in that. Even with
having discussions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even with, different political views, just explain to me why.
Yeah, tell me why. Maybe I'll understand.
Yeah, because maybe, I don't see things the way you do. I want to see why, and maybe I'll explain why I feel this way.
Yeah.
And try. I feel like that's what our founding fathers did. They didn't all get along. They just
the apostles didn't get along.
So so it was tough. I mean, we're still Facebook friends, so if this gets posted and she sees it, I don't know, but
yeah.
Well, no, I think
but yeah, that hurt.
It does. I think you're taking the high road. I think it's a natural reaction to feel hurt by that, because it shows that you have an affection for your friend. You want to have a discussion. I agree with that.
But so we just kind of just drifted. Like I said, we're Facebook friends, and we'd exchange Christmas cards. That's
the same exact thing I just talked about with my friend too. He because of this whole other thing with him, he just assumed, like you said, that there's a wedge there now.
Yeah.
Have you had that happen? Like somebody that you had to cut the cord with? I mean, because they got darker. Or I mean, I know we kind of jumped over that subject, but that's where we started.
So what exactly?
So I don't know, like you got a good friend, right? And then he starts drinking and gambling, or maybe he cheats on his wife, which is a weird place to be. When somebody comes to you, go, hey, all people, men and women go through this. Hey, if my wife or husband asks, say I was with you, and you're like,
Ooh,
now you're pulling me in, you want me to lie for you. Now, I'm not saying that that's happened to you, but I mean something where a friend exhibits some kind of really dark character flaw, and you're like, dude, what? Things are different between us now. I mean,
I can't say as I've had that. Going back to, where I referenced my early days in high school, where my friend at the time was starting to go down a path that I wasn't really interested or wanting to. I just stopped hanging out with him more and started hanging out with different people. But we still got along. We would see one another in the hallway or even afterwards.
right.
And there was no hard feelings in that respect. It's just I was no longer interested in the things he was interested in.
Yeah. It's like Jackie said, she didn't nudge their raft away, it just drifted away on its own kind of thing.
And that's really for me, 9 times out of 10, any friendships that I don't no longer are engaged in, that's really all that happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
Right.
you know, lives change, you know.
The one thing, this is funny. The upsides of your spouse being your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk strictly about the friendship aspect of the marriage,
Mm-hmm.
I remember my best friend always, I would never go to my best friend and go, is this red? Does that look swollen? Will you take a picture of that? When you're married, you'll do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Take a picture of that. Has it got a hair in it? Do I need to go to the dermatologist or is it, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So there is the upside of that best friend. That's why I said we got to exclude spouse, because it's a foregone conclusion your spouse is your best
for
friend.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a topic, Jackie.
Do. Looking.
I am too. Are you?
We've had a lot of these.
We have had a lot of these.
We've had a lot of these.
The advice one.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you take advice from your
You
friends?
take advice.
So I was gonna say sometimes there's, like I said, I have a lot of great ladies in my life. There might be some that I specifically go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm struggling with something
Yeah.
or have questions. So yeah, I have certain ones.
Are they your age or older?
Both.
Okay.
But and like as a mom with young kids, so yes, there is one who is probably 10 years older than me. So yeah, so that is nice because then you're just like, they would be like, oh yeah, my kids did that, or I went through that, or I felt that way. So yeah. So yes, I do like
Take
the
advice
older
from your friend. But
yeah,
do you take the? Is it just? Do you just talk to them, or do you actually put it into action? Because there's a lot of people that talk and are wise, but we don't necessarily.
Sometimes, yeah, I think so. Yes, yeah.
You take advice from your friends?
Yeah, anyone who I consider as my friend currently, for me, I almost have to be able to take advice from them.
What do you mean by that?
Oh,
Well, because it sounds like I'm such an idiot that I have to ask people to tell me what to do.
no.
No, I know that's not what you meant. No, that's not what you meant.
Do I need to clarify?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. What do you mean? Because I mean, you said you almost have to. That's yeah. What do you mean?
Anyone I'm going to kind of pull in as like the people I do life with.
Right.
He's saying they're quality.
Thank you.
Quality
thank you.
friends, so he's
So, well, wait a minute. What? But how does that mean you got to take advice? You almost have to take advice from them.
I need. To
I
be
got
willing,
some close
I need to be
friends.
willing to be able to take advice from them. Is that a better way to phrase it?
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going to steer you down the wrong path.
Thank you.
Do you
They're
take
not
advice?
gonna. They're not going to take you out and make you light a shed on fire. Is that what?
Yeah.
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 Your friend.
See,
I didn't have a friend that wanted to burn down a shed for. But, oh
He
my
wanted
God. I could tell stories that would. Jackie.
yeah. Well, I do have friends who would just say, "Well, let's get a shovel," and you know, and just whatever. Or I have friends who, the friend that watches.
Are they all? You suddenly went southern.
Well, yeah.
Let's get a shovel.
We're gonna get a shovel, and we're not.
So
gonna
my
tell
southern
nobody.
friends are a bunch of idiots. Is what you're. I'm sorry.
I'll hide the body. I will.
was-
Don't you worry, honey. But no, you do have friends who have terrible taste in movies or have terrible taste
Oh,
in
you're talking about
relationships.
okay. I was talking about life advice, but okay. I'm with you though. That's a great point. That's a great point though.
Yeah,
'Cause
there are some of my friends that I won't ask their opinion on a restaurant, let alone a life change.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still hung up on get the shovel.
Well, yeah.
Get the shovel.
Yeah, what do you
People
I'll
say
hide you in the trunk. I will.
people say he's a good friend. He come get you out of jail.
That's right.
If he was that good of a friend, he'd be in jail with you.
That's right.
Anyway,
He'd be posting bail.
movies. That's a great one because when you talk about advice, I was talking about serious stuff, but it's almost more interesting to think about the lighthearted stuff.
The lighthearted
when
stuff is important.
When I
too.
tell Grace, I talk to this person or that. It's always Ben and Kim because we talk, or you,
Yeah.
because we talk about movies.
Yeah.
And I'll go, well, this is what, and almost always, they're right. I agree. And when I watch them, I'm like, yep, that's good. Yep, they're right. And same thing with the ones you've told me, except for one. No, you both have gave me a dud. I didn't like Vendetta, and I know you. We already had this conversation.
Yeah,
I thought
know.
it was
a long time ago.
and then you told me that awful movie with the girl's name.
Adeline.
Yeah,
That
awful.
was Ben. He
That
still
was all
lives up
Ben. That was
Yeah,
all
so
Ben.
but other than that, all your advice has been solid.
Yeah.
But I do have, and I got a couple friends that I know if they say it's a good movie, it's a good movie. And I got a couple other friends. I haven't for a long time, but you got one of those friends. You go, have you seen Fast and Furious? And there goes a Southern accent. There goes, Part 11 just came out, man. I'm gonna tell you what. No, like, yeah, I'll have to check it out. No thanks. I'm like, no, that's not. So there are ones that as soon as they say it, you're like,
Sure.
I ain't watching that.
Yep.
And people build that reputation with you in a friendship. Like the first couple movies, you're like, okay, all right.
Or I mean, the friend who shows up at the party with like a neon pink blazer and white shoes and no socks. Or
Don Johnson? You're friends with Don Johnson?
Like Don Johnson, just for fun.
Wait, how did we get here? We're talking about advice.
So I wouldn't take any advice from that guy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Or yeah, I heard Kevin James go, you ever have a friend fatter than you give you advice on how to lose weight? Hey, you know what you got to do? Yeah, not listen to your fatter self. That's, and anyway.
But yeah.
Yeah, you're right. There's some people you just know when their life's a train wreck, if they try, you know what you should do?
You know what
Not
you
listen
should
to
do?
you. That's what I should do.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just get, like, you need Jesus. You need church. You need some church. Grace and I are very different because she'll spend time holding people's hands and hugging them, and I tell her, what's the matter with you? Why are you doing this? Don't you know Jesus and all? You show up, pretend like you do, don't you?
But that's a man-woman thing too.
Yes, for sure.
If I said to my Don Johnson dressing friend, "What is going on in your head right now?" When he shows up to a place like that,
Yeah,
I would be seen as catty. Let's use that word.
Yeah.
But a guy can do that any day of the week.
I would say you can take it off. You won the bet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So there's definitely a different dynamic there.
Yeah, there is a difference. It's like the thing we were talking about earlier with girls having guy friends.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see if there's anything else on here that we haven't covered. I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff in a
We
short
did.
time.
We covered a lot.
You take
of the
advice
list.
from friends? Ever refuse a friend's advice that was later? Yep. My first wife, I had one friend. The day he met her, I go, what do you think of her? He goes, I don't know, man. I go, what? And this was like one of my closest friends. He goes, you don't like her? He goes, I just think she's immature. I go, are you serious? He goes, mm-hmm. He goes, you're smarter than that. I go, dude, you're like the only person that has said something like this to me. He goes, you want my opinion? I told you my opinion. Mm-hmm. Years later in divorce court, I'm like, man, he was right.
Right. Yep.
He was right. And, yeah.
I think we've all done well. No, you guys married your high school sweetheart, so no.
No, mine wasn't a high
Well,
school
yours
sweetheart.
and it was slightly out of
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we've all experienced that where someone has been like, don't go down that road with that girl or with that guy.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
And
we've
then
all.
2 years later, you're like, oh.
But sometimes our best friends, and this even applies to you, Squeaky Clean, too. when you meet the love of your life, and you'll have a friend like, oh, you don't want to be with her, or because they're jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then has that ever happened? Has that ever happened to you?
I don't think it was jealousy. No, we had someone on our wedding day say everyone needs a starter marriage.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh gosh, that's awful.
Who had been married 4 times.
Ooh.
I said that DJing at a wedding once. I didn't say that. I said enjoy this dance. You're probably only going to have 3 or 4 more of these the rest of your life.
Oh, gee.
And it was my uncle who had been divorced 3 times.
Oh,
and
well,
that's
there
why
you go.
I
That's
said
okay.
it. Yeah, and I was like, I didn't want to do it. It was begrudgingly. I'm like, he can't stay married. And there was free beer. Mm-hmm. My brother dared me to say it. And I was, this was like decades ago, but I don't regret it. Anyway. Did you ever have friends jealous of Trish? Like when you were a young guy, your friends were like, man, why are you always with her, man? You never come out and play football anymore, or anything like that?
Not to that point. A friend and I both had interest in her at the same time.
Ooh, there it goes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's. that'll come between dudes big time. And like they always like there's an unwritten rule. Guys break that rule all the time, especially when they're young. And there's nothing that captivates you more than a female when you're a young dude. Yep.
It worked out though. He ended up actually being introduced to one of her friends, and they've been together just as long as we have.
Oh,
there you
I
go.
thought you were going to say he mysteriously got a concussion and he doesn't know. He doesn't remember any of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't remember high school at all.
Has it happened to you? Have you ever had somebody that hey, I don't marry Ben?
No.
You need to hang out with us and scrape out cow embryos or whatever it is you were doing.
You don't scrape them, you flush them.
Right.
You flush them.
You flush them?
No, but I lived in York, so 2.5 hours south of here. So I had my friends at home. So then when I got married, one was like, well, we can, we'll go on vacation, and it's like, I'm married now.
Right.
Like I'm not interested in vacations with the girls, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So that was just, it was a little awkward there. Like,
Yeah. It is.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was probably.
I had a friend, this is the last topic I'll bring up, who he had a girlfriend. We all worked at the same place. And he met this girl for lunch, and his girlfriend got really mad and all this. And I go, do you not see why she's mad? And he goes, well, we're just friends. I don't understand. I go, you don't. No. When you're in a relationship with a girl, you don't go out with other girls. There is no more friends.
No.
I go, there are people over there that I used to hang out with. You don't meet them for lunch, man.
Yeah.
You don't see what's wrong with that. And he goes, no, I trust her. She should trust. I go, if she had a guy friend, you'd be okay with that? And he goes, yeah. I go, then you're an idiot. I said that. And that was one of these close friend things, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And we are close friends. To this day, we're close friends. Very close friends. A great guy. But he couldn't get his head around that. And I'm like, dude, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't do anything that arouses suspicion. I used to tell my wife this before we got married. Because I'd lay down all the rules before we became a couple. I said, here's what couples do that I won't do. I go, I won't go hang out with girls. I didn't tell her, you can't do this.
No,
I told her what I do, and then I say,
you're saying.
so I expect the same treatment. I go, I don't have any girls that are friends that I meet for lunch. I'm never going to say, I'm going to take this job where I have to leave 3 or 4 days and be gone and come back and be gone and come and I'm never going to be in a situation where you don't know where I am or can't get a hold of me, because I said, if you want a strong relationship, you never afford the opportunity for doubt.
Right.
Now, it's not because the other person doesn't trust me. It's because I want them to know there's transparency. So they know. So it'll never even enter their mind. Because you should, when you're that best friendship, because we're talking about friendship and marriage, to earn and gain it, the first thing you have to do is say, now I don't do none of this stuff. And if this is going to be the real deal, you're not going to do none of that stuff.
That's right.
and then we were like-minded on all that stuff.
I know. The way you just said that was probably not the right way to say it, because you're like, I laid down these rules. You probably should have said.
Well, I did. I fixed it right away. I said I talked about me.
Expectations of a relationship, maybe.
Well, I meant I laid down the rules
trigger word for girls.
No, but listen, I fixed it. I was talking about laying down the rules for the way I behave, I conduct myself
or you're
in a serious relationship. Not. I've never.
Yeah.
I'm not like that. You could ask. I've never been.
But no, I mean
like
that's
that.
what you do have those kind of conversations when you get together with somebody, like your
Yeah,
expectations.
and friends, and there's no friends that are first.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, and that's you still need close friends when you get married.
Oh, yeah.
Because quite frankly, I've learned that it's not to have someone to talk about my wife with. It's to have someone to talk about the stuff that bores my wife to tears when I do talk to her about it.
Yeah.
And I know, God love her, I know she's trying to be nice. She goes, really? Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, level 4, there's a boss fight where he has a sickle. And it makes no sense. She goes, really? Sickle? That's wrong. And I'm like, she just wants to run out the window and just run screaming into the river. But she tolerates. That's why we need friends.
Yes.
I need a friend that, dude, level 4, talk to me, you know.
Right.
So everybody here's got those friends, right? You got a close friend?
Oh, yeah.
Do you talk to your friends about dumb stuff?
Oh, yeah. At least I'm sure to other people it sounds dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we're wrapping up, right? That went quick. What's your final thoughts on this topic? You don't have to hurry up. We're not in a hurry.
Oh my gosh, you always do this to me.
What do you mean? I go around the table.
No, you always start with me.
Well, because you're right in front of me.
I see. I don't know. I stick to my thing where about my friends. For a reason, a season, or a lifetime. I just feel like I've had a lot.
That's beautiful. I've heard it's good.
But I've had a lot of different people like come into my life, and maybe it's just
Temporary
because there was something going on. Maybe it's for a season of life, or maybe they have been a lifetime friend. But I don't know. Yeah.
Did we cover that? Do you haven't? Yeah, we did. Anybody that was a friend from when you were young that you're still just as tight with?
No, I mean, I think her daughter's now going to Bloomsburg where Grace goes, and we've recently connected to just share things about that. But no,
right.
But we were friends since 3rd grade. Sat next to each other, have a picture.
What's your final thoughts?
So my final thoughts are that your friendship should be people that, number one, you want to do life with.
Yeah.
And maintain.
Yep.
That that compatibility. People that you would trust your kids to.
Yeah.
And any advice they would give them, and also be willing to expand that circle.
Yeah. I agree on all points.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I really like that beginning of that poem, a reason, a season, and a lifetime.
Yeah.
And we never know why someone's coming in and out of our lives, but there's a reason, whatever you want to believe in. But, friendship is tough. It's, with all the other outside influences, especially with social media and everything else, friendship can be tough. But when you've got really, really, really good friends,
it's worth its weight in gold.
It's absolutely.
You think it's easier now at this point in your life with women? You know how we were saying, there's always that jealousy. I feel like I have better relationships with women now.
Oh, yes.
Oh
my gosh. Not that we're not competing for anything,
and
we're just
have
living.
That competition, yeah.
It's easier for me to have women friends now because since I'm a pastor, I don't actually having a code of ethics helps me have a better. Because you were talking about doing life. Before I came here, Ed Short, the guy that connected me to the church, said, this isn't a job. You have to meet this group of people and decide if you're going to do life with them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, I know that. But now, I'm not alone with women. I don't counsel women alone without another female, without my wife. So it's easier to have friendships because there's no fuzzy area where things could go south. Mm-hmm. So it's easier to be yourself.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Because it's not, like we talked about before, I don't meet women for lunch and all that, that kind of stuff. So anyway, but I've actually got better friends now as a pastor that are females, but it's because I adhere to the guidelines of marriage that's the case, where my wife is involved in everything.
Right.
But just like any normal person, my closest friends are the guys. I get closer and closer with everyone I've met in this church because that's another thing about being the pastor. People talk to me about personal things, and that almost paves the way to start building close friendships. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it's worth its weight in gold. I guess that's I agree with everything all of you have said. So,
All right.
Is that a wrap? We're done. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Brian. Brian, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
For flying the plane. All right. See you later.